after the highs of last year. Just explain to me what it feels like to fall at this hurdle.
Yeah, it's devastating. I think we had belief before the game, and we didn't perform. And this is the Champions League, and if you don't step up, then you're going to be punished. And obviously, after last year, it was a great run, and yeah, it's disappointing to go out like that.
Started so brightly, those 2 early goals really killed it. Did that knock the stuffing out of you?
Yeah, I think after the first one went in, it didn't really change much because we knew we had to score 2 anyway to win the game and go through. But yeah, we conceded too many chances as a team, and we were punished. And it's hard to come back when you're on top and then concede 2 goals. It does, like you say, knock the stuffing out of you. But we had to show our maturity and fight, and we didn't do that, and we were punished. So.
I mean, you're one of the senior players now. When you have some star players, game changers missing, like Harry, like Son, what does that do to morale in the dressing room? What does that do for everybody else?
Yeah, we can't use that as excuses. I think we still have quality on the pitch. I was missing some good players, but that's football. That happens, and when that happens, this is Tottenham. The players that are coming in have to step up, and we haven't done that today. I think, just gutted. I think we have to apologise to the fans. Obviously, going out, they travelled all this way, and to go out and lose like that, they deserve better.
There's still work to do in the league, of course, but potentially this could be a last European game for a year and a half. How much does that hurt, and how much fight is there left in the team to put that right in the next few games?
We have to fight. I think we can be in the position we're in the league as well. We can't hide. We know this hasn't been a good season for us, but we can't hide now. We can't give up. We have to keep fighting. In games like this, it brings you down to reality, and reality is we're in a bad situation that we have to turn around, and we're the only ones that can do that. So, the confidence is obviously gone at the minute, but big game at the weekend, and we have to pick ourselves up. We have to go again. As difficult as it's going to be, we have to turn this around, because, like you say, the reality is we're in a bad situation, and we're the only ones that can turn that around. So,
is there one thing you can pinpoint, or is it a combination of factors that have sort of led to this situation tonight?
I think the mentality. We were second to a lot of balls. Even, like you say, at the start we were bright, but to concede them goals, obviously seeing them there, I think, it just shows our mentality. We wasn't strong enough, but we have to stay together. And I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I think it was the whole team. We all have to bring each other up, and we all have to step up. It's not down to, one player to score goals, one player to stop goals. I think, it's the whole team performance and the mentality. We wasn't strong enough today, but we have to go again. That's the reality. Like you said, it's another game at the weekend, a massive game again, and we have to go and we have to fight. And we're the only ones that can turn this around.
And as one of the senior players, yourself, Hugo, amongst others, do you feel a greater responsibility to do that now?
Of course, I think all the players, we're mature enough to know we're not doing good enough, and you look at yourself first before you start blaming anyone else or blaming the team. You always have to look at yourself, and I'll do that. I'm sure a lot of the other players will, because we know it's not good enough. But like you say, as a senior player, I have to try and step up and help the team as much as I can, and so does everyone else.
Thank you. I know it's been a tough night. Thanks for talking to us.
Cheers.
It's interesting listening. RB Football post-match show. Kate Abdo, Tim Howard, Mo Adu, Stu Holden, all here with you. Leipzig through to...
Right, Timmy, 10th minute, Sabitzer. Keeper?
Bang!
Keeper, but Sabitzer was on fire today. He was up for the fight. The entire first half, it was his show.
But what a season he's having in general for the team.
I mean, he's their second leading goal scorer from midfield, behind Timo Werner.
Timo Nixon here just offside, but again, it signaled their intent. They were first to every ball. They were pressuring Tottenham. Clearly that one was ruled for.
It was a sign of things to come down this left-hand side. Serge Aurier gets his body all twisted around.
Don't.
Back, then misjudges the header. And then Angelino with the ball. What a near post run as well.
What a header by Sabitzer. I mean, that's like
past the near post.
But you see that no one's tracking him, right? Yeah. That midfield run, and there's no one tracking him. It's a great header.
It was their energy. They wanted it more than Tottenham. They believed in their system. They believed in the energy they bring.
Good save here from Galacci. One of the few moments in the first half that Tottenham were able to get into Leipzig's end, and then this one's bouncing around, falls to the feet. Doesn't know too much about it, but almost sneaks in at that back post.
Second half, Tottenham tried to start off a little bit more aggressive, try to be a little bit more aggressive on the front foot, and you see the collision there.
Oh, right in the boat race.
Yeah, he ended up going off Mukiel, and it was the Champions League debut for the American Tyler Adams, who came on as a right back in this game. Lucas Moura doing well here, getting down the end line, cutting it back.
That summed up top there, right? A ball right in front of goal. He needs to put his foot through it and just bounce it to the keeper.
But this is the 87th minute, and look at the numbers that Leipzig have in the box. That's one wing back crossing with the second one, Tyler Adams getting the shot off, and then it falls to Forsberg, who makes no mistake.
It's still a good finish.
Second assist, right? You got to get something for it.
So here's how things ended up. 3-0 then the final score today. And there's a look at all the stats for you. Relatively evenly matched in terms of possession, but shots and certainly tells a very big story there. 13-7 Leipzig to Tottenham. You talked earlier about what this would mean for Leipzig's reputation, Nagelsmann's reputation in Europe and world football. And you said that you now think this is a team that can go on and can make some noise in the Champions League.
I liken them a little bit to the run that Ajax made last season, but I think this was more expected from Leipzig. This is a project that has been growing over a number of years. You bring in a coach like Nagelsmann, one of the hottest young coaches in Europe. They have some of the best young talent. They've been building. They've been getting more experience. They're pushing for the Bundesliga. And then I saw in this series against Tottenham a real maturity to their play. Really well balanced, just really well disciplined. The way that they covered different parts of the field, how dynamic they are in the final third. Spurs midfield today was completely overrun between Eric Dyer and Harry Winks, just, head on a swivel at all times because Werner is popping in, Nkunku's coming into the hole, Sabitzer's making late runs into the box. Leipzig in attack are very unpredictable, and in defense, they're, I would say, more disciplined than I've seen in the past, and they have real solid leaders, guys like Upamecano, Klosterman, very good team.
Well, even Sabitzer through the middle, Tim, sorry, Sabitzer through the middle when you talk about defensive. Not really. But when you talk about their defensive work rate and guys willing to put out fires, you have a team where people are willing to sacrifice for the greater good of the team. You'll see in moments Timo Werner's tracking back, Nkunku trapping back. Sabitzer's work rate is incredible. Box-to-box midfielder, dropping in to protect the back three at times, and then guys coming off the bench. They still have that same impact. The whole mentality of this group, I think, was summed up today in that last play, the 87th minute, the goal there. The work rate of Angelino to still get up on that left-hand side, putting the ball in the box, and who's winning it? They're right back. Tyler Adams, who's come on, made a play there, and it leads to the third goal.
I think they'd be worth a bet to make a deep run in the competition, simply because they believe in each other. They believe in their system. They're so hard to prepare for because, as you said, they press numbers forward. They take risks at the back. So what are you going to do? Play long? They'll gobble it up, play to their keeper, and out the other side.
I think they're a team that if you get drawn against them now in the quarterfinals, you kind of think, we're going to have to graft. We are going to have to grind. They are going to make us earn every single little bit. And I think of the potential teams that are going to go through. They're not one of the traditional power that they play. And it was I think, something we expected and talked about a little bit, guys, the fast start from them. But the 10th minute, getting that early goal, it really does settle their nerves a bit. And I mean, Tottenham, they lacked quality today. They were undermanned. There's no denying that. We have to acknowledge the fact that they're missing some of their key players. But
when you look at the white shirts, they're all willing to do a job and a half. They're always on the move in perpetual motion. No one's standing still. They're reacting, whether it be in defense, in attack, in transition. They're always reacting to the ball. They never stop, and it's no surprise that the ball then turns over into their favor.
But even in plays like that, when there's a half chance, it's just their reactions are spot on. It's a collective performance from everyone. It's everyone chipping in, everyone knows. And you talked about it earlier, Tim, about this team having a system. This system has allowed so many players to flourish. You get guys like Nkunku, you're seeing the best out of him because he's in a system that, one, allows him to showcase his abilities, but then two, that they've all kind of bought in. They believe in their manager. They believe in what they're all trying to accomplish collectively. And I think it's why we've seen so many individual shining moments from these players. What
about Spurs then now? Because obviously you look at this, they're out of the Champions League for the rest of the season. Qualification for next season's Champions League doesn't look an easy ask. They're out of the FA Cup. There's no silverware this season on the horizon. What happens now? Do things begin to fall apart even further?
I think you spoke about it before, that Jose Mourinho isn't galvanizing this team, and with nothing left to play for now, like this was the last straw. I think they go into a free fall. I don't think it gets any better for them between now and May.
They're feeling the effects of having not bought for the two transfer windows and previously, and everybody's saying, oh, well, look how well they're doing. Last year was a one-off. What Pochettino was able to do with that team and the way they, qualified for the Champions League, they got to the final. They were winning games that they shouldn't have won.
How does Spurs now look at their ending with Mauricio Pochettino?
You almost wonder why.
Spurs fans are crying.
Yeah, they're regretting it massively, and they're regretting it. I think more so just because as you talked about, the past 2 transfer windows. It wasn't so much, I don't know what manager you could have inputted there that could really change the tide. They bring in Mourinho, a guy who's usually defensively sound.
But what's weird, Mo, is they signed players for Mourinho. I mean, but then, they'd signed Ndombele at the start of the year, and then they signed Fernandez, and they signed a couple. But they're going to have to spend big, don't you think, to compete
But now they're saying
season?
that them being out of the Champions League, that's going to alter how much they can spend. So it's just it's a windfall of effect right now.
I think to Tim's point, that's where the free fall comes in for me a little bit with Tottenham Hotspur. Now, it's imperative that they qualify for the Champions League. Europa League's not good enough for this team. They have all the expenses for the stadium. They're going to have to spend on this squad. Players are going to leave. Vertonghen's going to walk away on a free. Eriksson left already. What does Harry Kane want to do? Does Dele Alli buy in? I mean, go down the list. This project that was put together by Pochettino for 5 or 6 years, it's unraveling, and it's unraveling quick, and it's going to be an expensive fix if they want to get back.
OK, we've got another up-and-coming side in Atalanta who also booked their place in the quarterfinals today in the games that we just saw. We're going to bring you highlights of their game against